Hello and welcome back to another episode of Movie Deputy Reviews, where I, the one, the only movie deputy, am here to interrogate another movie for plot and content. Now, I didn't get a chance to see this one at home. They did not send me the screener on this one. So I saw this one in the theater like everybody else. Only I was sadly disappointed. My husband actually went through this movie with me. And we were the only two people in that movie. Now, I will admit, before coming to this movie, I was at least hoping that it would be meh. No, there's so many of these movies that are done very similarly to this that are either complete home runs, grand slams, or they just completely miss the mark. And so I was just kind of hoping it would just kind of end up in the middle. I wasn't expecting anything great, and I wasn't expecting the worst either. Now, I do try to go into a lot of different movies without having that expectation there. Unfortunately, that's not always the way that it works, because just sometimes you're familiar with the story and how that story might come to life, and it's just like, and I want to say out loud and just in a beautiful way that this movie, and you're probably wondering which one we're talking about, but I'm going to be getting to that here in a second. But the movie that we're going to be talking about, I gave an innocent rating to. So if you are looking for something family friendly, just absolutely wholesome, this is going to be a movie for you, and you're going to want to stick around, because I'm just going to drop the score somewhere along the review here, so you're going to have to stick around if you want to know that. But I am going to let you in on what movie I'm talking about. Now, the movie that we're talking about, the movie that I saw, is a story that I'm very familiar with. It is a book that I have read to many young ones close to me, from siblings to my own child, and being the neighborhood mom, children with that growing up. But I became very familiar with Harold from kind of the beginning. And I can't necessarily say the beginning, because the story goes back a lot further than I even realized it did. But obviously we are talking about Harold and the Purple Crayon. Now, you may correct me on my pronunciation of crayon there. I know some people just say crayon, other people say crayon. Yeah, we're not going to get into all of that either. So you're just going to have to accept my pronunciation of that. But if you're not familiar with the story at all, Harold is this little boy that has this crayon that anything he draws can come to life. Or it appears, like he could draw a bicycle, and then he'll have a bicycle. So it doesn't necessarily have to be things that are alive. It's just anything that he can imagine that he can draw, he can interact with. And he has these two amazing friends that join him on this journey. They are two animal pals of his, and one is named Moose and one is named Porcupine. Now, I'm serious, those are their names. And you may be curious as to what animals they are. Well, I'll give you two guesses, one for each of them. If you couldn't already tell, Moose is a moose and Porcupine is a porcupine. So, okay, it probably sounds like it's getting a little bit cheesy, and honestly, it does a little bit, but it does so in such a wholesome way. Like I said, I really didn't expect much with this, and it's just the way that it unfolds. You know me, no spoilers ever, nothing even close to spoilers. But in the story, Harold is kind of navigated by his narrator. And one day the narrator's voice just stops. And so Harold has to try to figure out what happened to Old Man. And that's his narrator. So he decides to travel into the real world. Now, this adventure will take him places that he did not even imagine were possible. And he runs into a mother with a young child of her own. And they are just kind of going through some stuff, and don't worry, and it doesn't kind of go down that whole romance angle, and it doesn't get distracted from the story. But here's Harold. He is this innocent little boy, except in a grown-up's body. And basically because he grew up in his world, he has still that mindset of just everything's good, everything's innocent, everything's beautiful. And you're only limited by your imagination. Now, that is such a refreshing thing to realize. And so he tries to navigate the world while he's trying to find Old Man. And he doesn't even know old man's name is. Sorry, I can't talk. And so he's just kind of going along searching and trying to find this person that he has this connection to. And he runs into a lot of people along the way. And it's an adventure. It's a comedy. You will literally laugh out loud. You will tear up, and it's going to get you right in the feels in every way imaginable. And the biggest surprise of this whole thing is it's not woke at all. Like, this is just a beautiful story that is literally for all ages. I mean, this movie would appeal from the youngest of our youngsters to the people who keep proving that age is just a number. It doesn't matter how old you get. Age is just a number. And if you can listen and see this and follow along with the story, you are going to be transported in your imagination to just something magical. And you get to see it. It's all, you're not looking at it through Harold's eyes, but you feel what he feels and you're experiencing what he experiences. And in the way that they do this, it's just, like I said, it just grabs you and pulls you in. There's a line in this movie that says, life isn't something that just happens to you. It's something that you create. The secret is in the imagining. There is so much truth to that. And I think I'm going to surprise you a bit with where I ended up with the score on this one. Harold and the Purple Crayon is getting a whopping 8.25 out of 10 on the Deputy scale. Mind you, I have had years where movies that got that score were in my number one slot for the year. I haven't tallied up where we are so far with this year, but I've literally had years where movies that received this exact score ended up as my number one movie of the year. Now, I do know for a fact that there is one movie at least this year that is a little bit higher than that. But yeah, this is definitely going to end up on my top 10 list. This one is probably going to end up on one of my favorites, period. Like all-time favorites. There's just something about this. And for children of all ages, literally age is just a number. And if you go to experience this, I implore you to stay into the credits, because there is a secret bonus scene that is in the credits that you're going to want to watch. I can only hope that they expand this further and we get to go along with Harold on even more adventures, because like I said, there are not movies like this very often that are wholesome, family-friendly, heartwarming, and honestly purely funny at its basic core level. It's funny in a way that it leaves you smiling when you leave the theater. It leaves you with your heart literally full of joy, and at a time lately, like in my life, that feels so hopeless, this movie inspires me to have hope. Facing some of the stuff I'm facing lately, that if you've listened to some of my recent episodes, you know what I'm dealing with right now. And sometimes that hope feels so far away. And then out of nowhere, a movie comes along like this and just leaves me speechless. Took me a while to gather my thoughts to be able to get this episode up. But I hope that you press those buttons to like, subscribe, share, so that I can continue to find these hidden gems of movies and bring them to you in this way that just, like I said, it's really sad that we were the only 2 tickets sold in a large auditorium, large theater. And I'm hoping that the other big movies that are out right now don't overshadow this one. It's like if you're looking for something that you can take your kids to, if you're looking for something that's a date movie, if you're looking for a family-friendly movie, if you're just looking for a feel-good movie, this is it. So go see it. Tell me what you think. Hashtag Movie Deputy, or email me directly. I want to know what you think. I want to know if this movie changed you. I want to know if it inspired you. Now, there's always going to be those naysayers that's like, magic's blended. Well, don't worry about all that. Or seriously, don't worry about that. This movie is magical, and I implore you to go see it. You won't be disappointed. But I will be back soon with another one, so I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.